Welcome to the wrap-up for week 7 of Process Systems Analysis. This week we've finished off the section in the unit that relates to energy balance, and we did that by looking at the mechanical energy balance equation. Specifically, we looked at how you calculate the friction component in the mechanical energy balance equation, and we showed that that can be split into two components: the friction in the straight section of pipes and the friction that's in the pipe fittings. We also looked at how you calculate the fanning friction factor, and we showed that that's different depending on whether the flow regime in the pipe is laminar flow, where the fluid flows in a series of straight layers, or whether it's turbulent flow, where there's a lot of mixing in the fluid. And we also showed that on that graph, if you're in the turbulent regime, you need to know the pipe material so that you can calculate the pipe roughness to choose which line to read off the graph to calculate the fanning friction factor. In the second lecture for this week, we moved on to the fifth and final topic for this unit, which is heat transfer. We discussed the three mechanisms by which heat is transferred, and they are conduction, convection, and radiation. And we looked in some detail at conduction, specifically how conduction through a flat plate occurs, or how we analyse conduction through a curved surface, such as the walls of a pipe. The main piece of assessment for ENG1010 that's coming up soon is the HYSIS test. So that will be held next week during your normal scheduled HYSIS class. It's important that you attend the HYSIS class that you're allocated to so that we have enough computers for all the students to sit the test. The HYSIS test is an open book test. So that means you can take any materials in with you to help you do the test, and you can refer to materials that you've already saved on the computer as well. The only exclusion to that is you're not allowed to use the internet during the test, so you can't go Googling while you're doing the test. The test itself will consist of one simulation that you need to set up, and then once you've set up that simulation, you'll need to answer 5 multiple choice questions, and the test will run for 1 hour. The level of difficulty of the questions are very similar to the HYSIS labs that you've done this semester, so a great way to prepare for the test is just to go back and make sure that you can solve all of the HYSIS labs. I hope you have an enjoyable Anzac Day, the public holiday tomorrow, and just to remind you, next week in ENG1010 there'll be no lecture on the Wednesday. Have a great weekend, see you next Monday.